Hey friends, this is Free Opinion, bringing you my free opinion. Today we're looking at Sydney Powell. This came out yesterday, and there are some bold accusations that she's throwing at them. And with her, like she says in this, I don't say things that I can't prove. So she has proof. She's not going to give it to national media. Everybody's going to have to wait till it comes out in the legal suits. But I can't wait to read these documents when it goes to court. Because when it goes to court, it should become public record. And we could all look at them. I don't know what it's going to bring to light, but what she says in this, ooh, there's some juicy shit that's coming our way, folks. And we have to be ready for anything. Because this, I know I've said it a million times now. There is fuckery afoot. And this time, they're coming with the receipts. But let's go ahead and listen to what she has to say.
Heard about the software made by Smartmatic from Rudy, and I want to get your take on what you and I spoke about just a few minutes ago, and that is a gentleman named Peter Neffinger. Tell me how he fits into all of this.
Yes, well, he is listed as its former Admiral Peter Neffinger, or retired Admiral Peter Neffinger. He is president and on the board of directors of Smartmatic. And it just so happens he's on Mr. Biden's presidential transition team that's going to be non-existent because we're fixing to overturn the results of the election in multiple states.
Ooh, that's spicy. All right, so let's break this down. I want to know what you guys think about that. Would you say, and I mean, hey, you could even hit me up on my Twitter and say it if you don't want to comment on the video. It's fine, I don't care. I don't get paid for this, so it really doesn't matter to me. I do this because I like to do it. This is spicy to me because what she just said. The guy that is the president of the Smartmatic company and on the board and a board member of the company he is part of Biden's transition team. I don't know because I'm not a lawyer, okay? But to me that kind of sounds like conflict of interest because of the simple fact of you got voted in by the same machines that this guy's company creates, and now you put him on your transition team. It seems kind of like a one hand washes the other type of scenario to me, where, and I'm going to say it, you rig the election, and we'll put you in a high paying government position, you know. I don't know what position they're putting him in or anything like that, so I don't know how much higher pay it would be than him just being the CEO of this company. Or not CEO, the president of the company. Let's go ahead and listen to more what she has to say, because she also gets into ballots being shifted from one candidate to the other. Let's listen. Which we also seen happen in Michigan. And we also had the Princeton professor saying all he had to do was tweak some lines of code and have 7 minutes alone with a machine, and he could flip an entire election by just shuffling around a couple votes from one candidate to another. Let's go ahead and listen to more what she has to say.
And President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes that were shifted by this software that was designed expressly for that purpose. We have sworn witness testimony of why the software was designed. It was designed to rig elections. He was fully briefed on it. He saw it happen in other countries. It was...
Now, this is another thing that I do believe is true, because CNN did a segment on Smartmatic back in 2008, I believe. And in 2008, they said that the company's owners are from Venezuela. And they had IT guys, not from the U.S., but from Venezuela, working at some of the polls in, I believe it was 2008. I'm not 100%, but you could go look up the video yourself. So this is the problem, because you guys wanted to talk about foreign interference in an election. This is actual foreign interference in an election. We shouldn't be using a country that has been seen to be very corrupt with their elections running our election by supplying the software and the hardware for the election, seeing as they have had multiple times in Venezuela where somebody is elected and people are like, "Nuh-uh, corruption. There's no way this guy got elected." But in the computer it says he did. But I bet you if you went through those ballots, those paper ones, and you counted them motherfuckers up, I bet you he didn't win. But let's go ahead and listen to her some more.
Exported internationally for profit by the people that are behind Smartmatic and Dominion. They did this on purpose. It was calculated. They've done it before. We have evidence from 2016 in California. We have so much evidence, I feel like it's coming in through a fire hose.
Wow. So, Sydney, you feel that you will be able to prove this. Do you have the software in your possession? Do you have the hardware in your possession? How will you prove this, Sydney?
Well, I've got lots of ways to prove it, Maria, but I'm not going to tell on national TV what all we have. I just can't do that.
Okay, but you have a small time frame here. The elections are supposed to be certified in early December. Do you believe that you can present this to the courts and be successful within this just couple of weeks?
Well, let me put it this way. First of all, I never say anything I can't prove. Secondly, the evidence is coming in,
So what she said right there is something that also makes me believe her more, that she never says anything that she can't prove. This woman isn't some newbie to law. She worked on the Fifth Federal Circuit for decades. She was an assistant U.S. attorney in western and northern Texas. This isn't somebody that you should just look at and be like, she's some crazy hack. No, she's over 500 appeals. 350 of those she did as U.S. assistant attorney. There's no saying she's a hack. She knows what she's talking about, just like Rudy Giuliani knows what he's talking about. Rudy Giuliani went after the Cosa Nostra, which is the Italian mafia, the 5 families of New York. He was the one that went after them. If you don't believe me, look up his history a little bit, because there's a reason why he was tough on crime in New York. He's seen what they were doing ever since he was a kid, all the way up through him being, up until he started putting away the heads of the 5 families. He helped with the Pizza Connection as well, which was a heroin trade that they were doing in New York. There's a lot of history behind him and going after the bad guys. But let's go ahead and listen to her some more. I kind of want to skip ahead a little bit to a certain spot.
Hundreds of thousands have stepped forward with their different experiences of voter fraud, but this is a massive election fraud. Millions of Americans, hundreds of thousands, have stepped forward with their different experiences of voter fraud, but this is a massive election fraud.
Dude, not only voter fraud, like, listen, okay? I've been checking my provisional ballot every day for the past week, calling and checking online, just in case it didn't update in their system yet to be online. I'd also call, except for on the weekends when they're closed. And my ballot still has not been counted. I know 3 other people that their ballots still have not been counted. I know them personally. Now, these are anecdotal. But in Delaware, there was a woman that was asking, and she put it underneath one of President Trump's tweets. She was like, we should be checking what's going on in Delaware because my mail-in ballot still hasn't been counted, and they've already called the election. But hers, her husband's, and other people that they know that did mail-in ballots were not counted. So there's some fuckery with what's going on here. Let's listen to her some more, because this woman actually isn't somebody that we should just brush off like she doesn't know what she's talking about, because she really does.
fraud. And I'm very concerned it involved not only Dominion and its Smartmatic software, but that the software essentially was used by other election machines also. It's the software that was the problem. Even their own manual explains how votes can be wiped away. They can put, it's like drag and drop Trump votes to a separate folder and then delete that folder.
That's another thing that I've heard allegations of through other channels as well, was that there were votes just disappearing. And this woman is telling you, look, even in the manual for the software, it says that this can happen. It shouldn't, is my point. That should never happen, especially with the... It's not even like it's a local election. This is the presidency. You would think that they would vet this software enough to where they know that it will not do that. But in my personal opinion, I think it was a one hand washes the other type of thing. Hey, make sure we win and we'll put you on some type of government position. As she was saying, the guy is part of Biden's transition team. Let's keep going a little bit more.
It's absolutely brazen how people bought this system and why they bought this system. In fact, every state that bought Dominion for sure should have a criminal investigation, or at least a serious investigation of the officers in the states who bought the software. We've even got evidence of some kickbacks, essentially.
I believe that a portion of the kickbacks that she's talking about is where they got millions of dollars for the new Smartmatic machines. I mean, she also says that some officials have gotten money, which I'm going to skip to that portion right now.
The break, we talked about, you said that there may have been kickbacks to some people who accepted the Dominion software. Tell me what you mean.
Well, I mean, we are collecting evidence now from various whistleblowers that are aware of substantial sums of money being given to family members of state officials who bought this software. I mean, we're talking about $100 million packages for new voting machines suddenly. And
this is where I think she misspoke. Well, not right here, but later on she says that kickbacks of hundreds of millions of dollars. I think this is what she actually was talking about, was the package for $100 million for the new software and hardware and stuff. But she also says that there were sums of money given to family members of officials, kind of like breaking the chain so they could get the money without it being on their name. You see what I mean? Kind of like Biden getting fucking millions of dollars by having it given to his son. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should probably look into the Hunter Biden emails and stuff, because there's a lot of fuckery going on with that. But the news never wanted to talk about it because they were like, oh, there's no evidence. And then Rudy Giuliani came out and was like, if there was no evidence, it wouldn't be in the fucking FBI's hands right now. Apparently there's enough evidence for the FBI to really be looking into that hard drive.
In multiple states, and benefits ranging from financial benefits for family members to sort of what I would call election insurance, because they know that they can win the election if they are using that software. It's really an insidious, corrupt system, and I can't tell you how livid I am with our government for not paying attention to complaints even brought by Democrats, Carolyn Maloney, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar.
So all of these women wrote letters about this software itself, I believe. that there were complaints that this software is able to be tampered with. We're going to skip ahead a little bit to, there's a part where she talks about irregularities. But again, like I said, I'm going to link the whole video in the description so you guys could actually go and look at this, because this to me is kind of substantial, you know. And then Rudy Giuliani came out this morning with some other stuff, which I got to make a video on, because this stuff to me is really interesting. Maybe not to everybody else in the world, but politics has always been interesting to me, because I know that they're all a corrupt bunch. It's just which ones are more corrupt than the others, and which ones have let their corruption completely decimate any moral value that they had. Let's go ahead and listen to her.
That the CIA is behind the Dominion or Smartmatic voting software as well?
Well, the CIA and the FBI and other government organizations have received multiple reports of wrongdoing and failures and vulnerabilities in this company's product. Their own manual, if you sat down and read it, would explain how and why no honest person would use this system. And it's not just Dominion. There are other companies in the voting machine business in this country, too, that may very well and are likely using the same software. We've detected voting irregularities that are inexplicable and align with these problems in other states that think they have valid systems. But the people who bought the Dominion system for sure knew exactly what they were getting. It should never have been installed anywhere. And we are going to show the public exactly how rotten the entire state is.
Now, I have spoken with a few whistleblowers myself this weekend, and one source who is an IT specialist told me that he knows the software and specifically advised people in Texas, officials in Texas, not to use it. And yet, he was overruled. He said that there was an unusual patch that was put into the software while it was live, and it's highly unusual to put a patch in there. Is that what you're referring to? Tell me how it's done and how these back doors work.
Okay, that's part of it. They can stick a thumb drive in the machine.
So this is another thing. There are ways that they can mess with the software. She's about to explain it, but do you really trust software that somebody could just stick a thumb drive in and tamper with it?
Machine or upload software to it, even from the internet. They can do it from Germany or Venezuela even. They can remote access anything. They can watch votes in real time. They can shift votes in real time. We've identified mathematically the exact algorithm they used and plan to use from the beginning to modify the votes in this case to make sure Biden won. That's why he said he didn't need your votes now, he would need you later. He was right. I mean, in his demented state, he had no filter and he was speaking the truth more than once, including when he said he had the largest voter fraud organization ever. Well, it's massive election fraud. It's going to undo the entire election. And they can do anything they want with the votes. They can have the machines not read the signature. They can have the machines not read the down ballot. They can make the machines read and...
You got to admit that's scary to think of, because if they could tamper with it that much, what does that mean for our elections now? If they could tamper with this software the way that she's saying they could tamper with it, none of our elections are going to be fair. None of them are going to be what we are told they are, which is fair and free elections. These are, I mean, my father's been saying it for fucking 20 years now. He's been saying, we do not pick the president. The president is appointed. The one time that failed was with President Trump, because nobody thought that he was going to get as many votes as he did. I mean, shit, he didn't even really have rallies like that because the mainstream media was pushing how terrible he was, and then people would go and listen to what he actually said and be like, they're lying. But let's go ahead and listen to a little bit more of what she said. It's just scary to me to think that they could tamper with this software so easily. There shouldn't be a back door where they could get in there and fuck around with anything. There shouldn't, fuck that, there shouldn't even be anywhere where they could put a flash drive into it. All seriousness, it should be a hard drive that you take out and plug into a computer. Like, I wouldn't want a flash drive on those machines, because all somebody has to do is stick a flash drive in there, and boom, they could switch whatever they want.
Catalog only the Biden votes. It's like drag and drop whatever you want, wherever you want, upload votes.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got math in Michigan and Pennsylvania, I think it is, that all of a sudden hundreds of thousands of votes at a 67% ratio for Biden, 23% for Trump, were uploaded multiple times into the system.
And that is true, actually. There's also a woman that I'm probably going to be looking at her video later. She apparently worked for Dominion on this election in Detroit. And she was talking about how they were feeding the same stack of votes through the machine multiple times. So if you have I think they call it a bundle or something, it's 50 votes. They fed 50 of them through multiple times. So that's how they inflated the numbers. So let's go ahead and listen to her a little bit more, and then I'm going to end the video.
And Sydney, you say you have an affidavit from someone who knows how this system works and was there with the planning of it. You believe you can prove this in court?
Oh, yes. We have essentially a sworn statement from a witness who knew exactly how it worked from the beginning, why it was designed to work that way, and saw when things started shutting down and they started, stopped counting the votes here, that was the same play that had worked in other countries.
Wow.
And she also talks about the CIA using this in other countries at one point in the video. I think I passed by it, though. But I could see why the CIA would, because a coup is dangerous. To stage a coup is dangerous. But to make people think they elected a certain person by tampering with the machine is a lot safer. There'd be less fighting in the streets. There'd be a lot less violence, is basically what it comes down to. If you could minimize the amount of violence and still get your wanted outcome, that is the best way to go. I mean, think about it. Which one do you think would work better, if you had a peaceful transition of power or a violent one? In these other countries, they get more violent than we do, because they could just go out and buy AK-47s fully automatic in some of these areas, because their black market is a lot easier to get a hold of than in the U.S. There's not people just driving around with vans full of AK-47s selling them to people. But, alright, we're going to just listen to what they have to say for the next couple seconds, and then I'm going to say bye to you guys, because I love your beautiful faces. You guys are awesome for watching this video to this far. If you did, please leave a like down below.
This is explosive, and we certainly will continue to follow it. Sydney, thank you so much for your work. We will be catching up with you soon. Thank you so much. We'll be watching.
Thank you,
Sydney
Maria.
Powell.
You can be assured Rudy and I will stay on it.
Alright, so that's the video that I wanted to make for today. I'm hoping that this was as comprehensive as possible. I didn't want to end up getting another copyright strike. That's why I stopped it more often than I normally do. I skipped ahead, skipped back. Please, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this, okay? I'm not saying that this is 100% fact, but I am saying 2 attorneys, one was on the 5th Federal Circuit for decades, has done appeals, over 500 of them, 350 of them as a U.S. assistant attorney in Texas, the north, I believe it's the western Texas and northern Texas. Okay, so she is somebody that actually has done legal work all her life, and the other one is Rudy Giuliani, and his record speaks for itself. The man took down the mob. If you can't trust somebody that is that fucking he's uncorruptible, because you know that the mafia came to him trying to pay him, and he didn't take the money. They even tried assassinating him. It still didn't work. The Sicilian mafia tried to assassinate Rudy Giuliani, and it still didn't work. He still went after the 5 families. He took down heads of the 5 families. But hey, man, this is just my opinion. I think that there's some basis to this. There's some fact in here. And I can't wait for the court dates. I can't wait to see the proof that they have, because that is going to be awesome to look at. Please, guys, when you're out and about today, tomorrow, depending on the time, what time of day it is, wherever you're at, be nice to someone. You never know. It just might save your life.